towards the end of the Middle Ages, Thomas Aquinas still was preaching transcendent God. God that is not conceptualizable. The value outside of our conceptual touch. So God is not a being. As church, after that, more and more started presented God. So it's like reductionism of the God's transcendental state. So it's a collapse of the transcendental value into material value.
That's why they had to boost the science on the non-beat.
That's why religion kind of lost the battle with science, right? Because science became stronger. Science is very conceptual. It delivers real results in the world. Right?
Yeah, and you were trained in the scientific method.
Yes.
You're a new.
Yes. A scientific method, when it came about with Francis Bacon, with Newton, that time all the temptation to reduce the world into our conceptual semantic structure, to enclose the real world, to basically to take the map for the territory, for the land, equate our conceptual mind with reality. And the idea that, well, we actually can know the world, that we know. The arrogance showed up. It's because of the church, after Thomas Aquinas, gradually started preaching God as the being, and God is not the being.
A being that you have to fear. And if you don't experience that, you're going out.
Oh, because it's so authoritarian instinct of the people who led the church install fear in them, because they were so anxious to hold on to their power. So they started holding on more and more to idea of the God, which is being now, not transcendent God, which was before that, but the being, like one of the beings. And when God is a being and we are being, well, then we are competing with God. Maybe we will overthrow God. And scientists say, well, why not, right? Who is this being dictate us how to live our life? See how it turned out? God is dictating our life. Why? We are such a great discoverers here. We are creating new reality. We are building up new world. Where is the place for God now? God is just simply superstition. It's not just dark people going with their rituals, superstition. So the baby was thrown out with the bath water, right? That's what happened.
What's it after Nietzsche?
That's what Nietzsche was predicting the disastrous development of how reducing world of potentially understandable, right? So we went through this process after Nietzsche. We saw the horrors of societies which lose the connection with transcendent value.
That worse the worse.
See, transcendent value is irreplaceable. And we have connection, not just through religion, we have connection with arts. And religion uses arts. Like, look at the architecture of the temples and the Gothic cathedrals and the churches and the synagogues. The beauty of those structures and the music of Bach and Handel and Beethoven and Mozart played in them, and the worship and the prayers and the congregation and unity of people. What can be more beautiful than that, right? But when that is perceived as a superstition, and of course, church gave a huge license for this newly arrogant science, a license that, well, yeah, for sure, those stories are real, Of course, everything happened. Well, now those scientists started laughing at church, right?
But that cannot be.
That's the reason why it's right now Even now, in the time of quantum mechanics, right? When we already know for a fact that there is no material world, that there is nothing but consciousness alone.
And you can prove that mathematically.
It's been proven already. I mean, if one wants to look into that right now, the evidence that that method doesn't exist, it's just simply like it's a commonplace. It's not a hypothesis. It's not something that needs proof. It just needs to have a glance at it and just to agree with self-evident and undeniable. Anyone who is saying and just glance at it will say, well, of course, matter doesn't exist. It's only consciousness. So, okay, let's move on. So the church, the diminishment, it's not so much rise of the science, it's diminishment of the church.
That's the culture.
It's a step down into conceptual reality by the and abandoning transcendent God. Church abandoned transcending God.
So you're saying that's the culprit for the cultural divide.
But thank God, yes. And thank God that at least art didn't abandon transcendent. We are still hugely connected to transcendent God, to art.
Through the art.
Through all the symphonies, through all these unbelievable novels, through all this Dostoevsky's and Shakespeare's and Byron. God, you know?
Henry Thoreau.
And it's all the deepest stories that are told, no matter how they are told, in music or in literature or in paintings or in sculpture.
Or in Confucius.
Yeah, the deepest stories in poetry, the deepest stories that are told, they are in essence not different from any scripture of the past. It's not like, okay, the Bible stopped with Jesus. No, it did. The Bible continues. Tell me that Dostoevsky is not the Bible. Let's be serious. And if church would operate today on the level of Dostoevsky, there would be no tolerance. There would be no conflict with science. There would be huge respect from the science, as religion must respect. So the unity, the ultimate unity, is on transcendent level, and it's moving that direction. As much as social media is now disrupts everything, but the access to information is the most important. Our access to information today, and the knowledge becomes available into the most remote corners of the world. And people can master skills today anywhere they live. They don't need to go to Harvard. They can be in some village, in some African country. And they still have internet, they have access to their cell phone, and they have all the knowledge of the world, of the history on them. If you tell me that this will not change the world, you know, and of course, if we will be foolish to destroy the world before it, to create a nuclear, to create a nuclear,
or all these other crazy things that can go on.
Which probably will not be the end of the world, but it will not be a pleasant. And we must, right? And the church is positioned like no one else to take leadership. There's so many believers around the world. There's so many people still connected to the transcendent.